Welcome to World Music Safari. In this episode, the Bansuri from India. The Bansuri is a bamboo flute that hails from India, and it's used in classical Indian music, although now it's used in pop music as well. It's a bamboo flute that has 6 holes on it, and it's played just like all the other woodwinds. So the more holes you close, the lower it goes. Open up to go up. Now there's an exception to this one. At some point, once you open up all the holes, to get to that second octave, you close all the holes again and then play it with a little bit of an overtone so that this flute can actually get 2 octaves. This is a really beautiful flute. They are kind of slippery sounding, and it's because of the open holes and the technique that you use to play it. There's a lot of different styles of open hole flutes all over the world, from Ireland to India down into South America. Open hole flutes are, I don't want to say they're nothing special, but the technique that you use to play the Bansuri is what gives it its unique and beautiful sound. It's a very haunting, kind of a slippery sounding flute. So this is a double D Bansuri, so it's a lower style of Bansuri. Some of them are smaller and higher. There are different, just like harmonicas, there's different keys of Bansuris, smaller ones, higher ones, lower ones. This particular one is sort of a standard Bansuri in as much as it's a lower style and easier to learn flute. Some of the higher ones are actually, even though they seem smaller, they're a little bit more difficult to play. This is a pretty forgiving Bansuri. And what you do is you blow on it just like you would an orchestral flute, but in the Bansuri's case, you kind of want to aim it down a little bit. You'll notice that a lot of the flute players from India don't blow straight across. It's kind of aimed down a little bit right along the edge of this outside part. And you'll be able to hear that a little bit later, and it lends itself to having the ability to kind of slip between notes a little easier. And then you'll notice the technique that I use with my fingers a little bit later lends itself to being slippery too. So between the open holes and the length of this tube, it's just got a very, very haunting sound, as you'll see. So once again, I'm dealing with a lot of background noise. As you can hear, there's some more construction going on and jets going overhead. So though the video quality is going to go down a tad bit, I have to move inside so that we can hear this thing without jets interfering and cement trucks backing up. So let's head inside again. So here the notes are really slippery like that. I'm sort of using a technique between my mouth and the fingers at the same time to kind of glide between the notes as opposed to crisply going between them. That's a signature style of the Bansuri. I'll see if I can get it a little closer here. It's a little easier to do it on the higher register than the lower, but it's got a really unique sound. So that last little ditty was from a movie that came out a long time ago called Taal, T-A-A-L. It's a pretty old movie, but it was very, very famous in India, and that particular melody was a recurring little leitmotif that happened throughout the entire film. And of course it was the glue that kept the love interests together. They shared a Coca-Cola, as they always do in just about every other movie. It seems like Coca-Cola is a binding factor in a lot of different movies from India. But that being said, it's a great movie. If you get a chance to check it out, You should. It's a nice little movie. It's got a cute little message, and of course there's a love triangle and the whole bit. But this flute features prominently in two of the themes that happens throughout the movie. This one, and then there's another one. I'll see if I can remember that one offhand, but I don't think I can. You know what? I can remember it, but it's on a different Bansuri. It's on a higher Bansuri. Remember we were talking about Bansuris coming in different keys, kind of like a harmonica. This is no different, but I remember the melody. Now look, this is pretty easy to play, especially if you already play flute, so I highly recommend picking one up. This didn't cost me very much. At the time I think it was maybe $20 or $22. They may have gone up in price, but this is the kind of style you want. And you can find these pretty available anywhere from Amazon to... Lark in the Morning tends to run a little expensive. You can find them a little bit cheaper, but Lark in the Morning does guarantee their flutes. Alright gang, well that's it for this episode of World Music Safari and the intro to the Bansuri. I hope you enjoyed listening to the Bansuri as much as I enjoyed playing it. If you have any comments or questions, let me know below and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. But in the meantime, see you next episode.